Even in darkness, it is possible to create light. Slum Soccer's unique and innovative Deaf Kids Goal project, being implemented in collaboration with Deaf Kids International UK and with the support of Comic Relief, was cruising along smoothly up till February 2020. All of a sudden, COVID 19 struck and everything ground to a halt. Time stood still as darkness descended. Deaf schools, which were the cynosure of various activities and programs of Deaf Kids Goal project, were shut down indefinitely. Slum Soccer was forced to discontinue its on-field sessions for the deaf participants. Since the inception of the program, the sessions had become a preferred coping mechanism and a cathartic experience for the deaf children. The COVID-19 lockdown blocked the access to their coping mechanisms of choice as well as their opportunities to learn and play. The lockdown and its ensuing restrictions devastated the fragile psyche of the deaf children and adversely impacted their physical and emotional mental well-being. They failed to comprehend what was happening to them and around them. This led to the heightened sense of isolation, loneliness, fear, uncertainty, and lack of purpose in life. Slum Soccer remained in constant touch with its deaf participants through video calls. As time passed, the imperativeness to address the ill effects brought about by COVID-19 lockdown became very evident. No sooner lockdown restrictions were relaxed, the Slum Soccer's Deaf Kids Goal team set off to find the light at the end of the tunnel. The team fanned out far and deep into various communities in Nagpur to encourage and enroll deaf CYP. They also located safe spaces close to the residences of enrolled participants and started engaging them in educational football-based activities while maintaining COVID safeguards. The experience and expertise we had gained while working with deaf children enabled us to think beyond and design a unique curriculum for deaf CYP of these communities, which would inculcate in them basic life skills and love for team sports. Amit Soni from Gulshan Nagar, Kalamna is a very active deaf participant of Deaf Kids Goal Community Outreach Program. However, he feels shy and embarrassed due to his poor socio-economic background. For precisely this reason, he does not like anyone visiting him at his home. During the monsoons, the roof of his house leaks and the surroundings get flooded, rendering the place unhygienic and unapproachable. When DKG team reached his home, he was in tears and could not control his emotions. Being aware of his commitment and resilience, we are confident that he will utilize the learnings from DKG sessions to build a better future for himself and emerge as a role model for transforming the lives of deaf CYP of his community. His neighbor has been a witness to the transformation in Amit's personality ever since he started participating in Deaf Kids Goal. often sees him playing and practicing with football and is impressed by his involvement in sports and wishes him all success to move ahead in life.
नमस्ते, मेरा नाम प्रतिभा काटवे है। मैं अमित के मकान के पीछे साइड में रहती हूँ। अमित बहुत अच्छा लड़का है, बहुत अच्छा खेलता है, फुटबॉल भी बहुत अच्छा खेलता है। उसको ऐसे यानी खुश देख के हम लोगों को भी बहुत खुशी होती है। उनके मम्मी पापा भी सब उनको देख के बहुत खुश रहते हैं। हम भगवान से यही प्रार्थना करते हैं कि ये आगे भी अच्छा रहे, अच्छा खेलता रहे, अच्छा आगे बढ़े और हम दुआ करते हैं कि दुनिया में ज़िंदगी में बहुत आगे बढ़े।
Pratham Nikalje, who also hails from Kalamna, is a loving son of his parents. Unfortunately, his parents do not know sign language. This makes it extremely difficult for him to communicate his feelings to his parents and even constrains his routine domestic activities. Ever since he joined Deaf Kids School football sessions, he has become very active and has started to make efforts to share his happiness in learning with his family.
नमस्कार, मी रेखा पांडुरंग निकाळजे, प्रथमची आई. आता लवकर उठते, फुटबॉल खेळायला जातो आणि तिकडून आल्यानंतर तो मला पूर्ण सांगत असतो, खूप खुश राहत असतो आणि त्या स्लम सॉकर खेळायला त्याला खूप आवडतो. मला प्रथममध्ये हे चेंजेस बघून खूप आवडते. थँक्यू स्लम सॉकर. धन्यवाद.
Our Kalamna sessions are a source of happiness and learning to many other deaf CYP like Amit and Pratham, who have found the Deaf Kids School sessions therapeutic during dark and difficult times. Reshimbagh is another community like Kalamna where deaf CYP are rebuilding their lives through participation in Deaf Kids School sessions. Meet Aniket Kature, a deaf CYP of Reshimbagh community who also suffers from disability in one hand. Yet, he does not let his handicap come in way of his enthusiasm in participating in the on-field activities. He is known for his punctuality and is usually the first on the ground. His mother runs a small shop in his community to make ends meet. She is very happy to see him develop a newfound interest to progress in his life through his involvement in football.
नमस्कार, मी रेखा कातुरे, अनिकेतची आई बोलत आहे. माझा मुलगा पहिले घरीच राहत होता आणि फार म्हणजे असं परेशानीमध्ये राहत होता आणि रेशीमबागमध्ये आता जेव्हापासून स्लम सॉकरमध्ये फुटबॉल खेळायला जातो तेव्हापासून त्याला फार चांगलं वाटत आहे आणि त्याला पुढे काही करण्याची जिद्द आहे. त्यामुळे तो फार खुश आहे. मी सॉकरचे म्हणजे मनापासून अभिमान. धन्यवाद.
They say every cloud has a silver lining. Deaf Kids School's community outreach has turned out to be that silver lining in the desolation, despondency and dreariness that had surrounded Deaf CYP consequent to COVID lockdown. These community sessions expanded the project's footprint and made its envisaged benefits more accessible to the Deaf CYP of Nagpur. The sessions gave the Deaf CYP participants an opportunity to interact with their peers, make new friends, and develop a sense of purpose. The participants could recover from the lockdown lethargy and trauma and gain self-confidence. Mental health issues afflict the underprivileged sections of the society living in slums much more, and their poor state of mental health is both a cause and a consequence of poverty, compromised education, discrimination, stigma, and inequality, etc. The children and youth of these families are far more vulnerable as they have limited coping mechanisms and suffer from psychosocial disabilities in a big way. 95% of deaf children born to hearing parents or someone who doesn't have the opportunity to interact with deaf peers, deaf youth can often feel isolated and alone, an issue that we have seen increase during the pandemic. Deaf people also often experience barriers such as negative attitudes, prejudice, and reduced accessibility in school and work environments. That's why deaf role models matter so much. They offer support from a place of shared understanding and life experience. These deaf participants are a role model to the society and will continue to inspire other deaf youth through their growth in football.